What would you do if the very person who controlled your paycheck tried to destroy your relationship? My boss thought he could play God with my life. He was wrong. This is the story of how I took him down piece by piece and made sure he lost everything he loved. I wasn't just dealing with any boss. This man, let's call him Rick. Rick was the textbook definition of toxic power. Loud, arrogant, always needing control over every detail of your life. He wasn't just a manager. He was a tyrant who got off on making people feel small. Rick was married but faithful, not even close. Everyone in the company knew he cheated. He had this disgusting hobby. He called it art photography. What it really was him taking photos of himself and the women he slept with. Not just innocent pictures. I'm talking about explicit shots in the act. He would brag about them, flashing the pictures around the production floor like some kind of sick trophy collection. And here's the kicker. He found out I was dating someone, not just anyone, a woman in another one of our offices about 2 hours away. Her name was Claire, beautiful, smart, with a quiet strength that drew me in. We were still new, still figuring things out, but I knew she was special. When Rick found out, his eyes lit up like he had found his next game. And I knew deep down that he wasn't going to let this slide. See, Rick hated when people had something he couldn't control. He lived for the thrill of taking. On his next business trip, he ended up at the same office where Claire worked. He cornered her, smooth-talking, trying to charm his way in. Except Claire wasn't stupid. She shut him down instantly, told him to back off. Rick didn't take rejection well. The man's ego was fragile, built entirely on manipulation. And if you bruised it, he'd make you pay. The next week, Claire was called into HR. Out of nowhere, she was accused of performance issues. Paperwork she never filed, mistakes she never made. It was all fabricated by him. And just like that, she was fired. I'll never forget the call that night. Claire's voice cracking as she told me she lost her job. The helplessness I felt. Sitting miles away, hearing her sob and knowing it wasn't fair. My blood boiled, my fists clenched. But what could I do? Rick was my boss. He held all the cards, at least that's what he thought. I swallowed my rage. I played the long game. If Rick wanted to destroy my relationship, he was going to learn what it felt like when someone dismantled his entire world. I remembered those photos. He kept them at the office, not at home, because his wife worked with us too. If she ever stumbled upon them, his perfect little image would shatter. And that's when the seed was planted. I just had to wait for the perfect moment. I knew exactly where Rick kept his secrets. All I needed was the right opportunity. And when it finally came, it was almost too perfect to believe. The cleaning lady, an unlocked office, and a drawer full of the ammunition I needed to end him forever. My boss tried to sleep with my fiancée. When she rejected him, he destroyed her career. But I wasn't about to let him win. I bided my time, and when the perfect chance came, I took everything from him. That opportunity came one Saturday. I was scheduled for overtime, alone in the office. At least, that's what Rick thought. But around noon, I heard the soft jingle of keys and the faint creak of a door. It was the cleaning lady. She had the master key, moving through offices one by one. And then, my heart almost stopped. I saw her unlock Rick's office. I tried to stay calm, forcing a casual tone as I walked over. "Hey, mind if I just measure some drawings in there while you're cleaning?" She barely looked up, just nodded. "Sure, just close the door when you're done." And then she was gone. It was just me, standing in Rick's kingdom. My pulse hammered in my ears, sweat beaded on my neck. If anyone walked in, if anyone suspected what I was about to do, I could lose my job instantly. But the thought of Claire's broken voice, the humiliation she endured, pushed me forward. I went straight to his desk, drawer after drawer, nothing but pens, files, and junk. Until, finally, I pulled open the bottom drawer and there it was, a stack of photographs, nearly 4 inches thick. I froze for a moment, staring at the pile. Each one was a piece of Rick's arrogance, his recklessness, his face, his conquests, and not one of those women looked anything like his wife, because she was a blonde. These women, brunettes, redheads, undeniable proof of betrayal. My hands shook as I slipped the entire stack into my backpack. I closed the drawer, straightened the desk, and walked out as if nothing had happened. My heart raced the whole way home, but now I had the power. I didn't rush. No, I was patient. I waited until Rick was away on another business trip. Timing was everything. If he was gone, he couldn't intercept what was about to hit his world like a bomb. The day finally came. I took a dozen of the clearest photos, ones where his face was unmistakable, ones that left no room for denial. I slid them into an envelope. No return address. Then I drove, 2 towns over, to the post office nearest to Rick's home. My hands trembled as I slid the envelope across the counter, buying a stamp with a polite smile that completely hid the storm inside me. And then I mailed his entire life away. For a week, silence. Rick strutted into work, still smirking, still barking orders like he owned the world. But then whispers started. His wife had stopped showing up at the company cafeteria. He looked distracted, nervous. And then came the storm, the divorce papers, the screaming match that echoed through the office halls when she confronted him, the lawyer who dragged him through court, bleeding him for every dime. His smugness shattered, replaced by anger, panic, desperation. He lost it all. His marriage, his money, his reputation. The man who used to wave explicit photos around the workplace like trophies was now humiliated, reduced to a cautionary tale whispered in the break room. And me? I didn't have to say a word. No one knew, no one suspected. It was justice, silent and clean. Claire and I? We survived, stronger than ever. In fact, she's my wife now. The pain he tried to inflict only bonded us closer. We don't talk about Rick much anymore. Honestly, we don't have to. Because every time I look at her smile, I'm reminded sometimes karma just needs a little push. Rick thought he could steal my fiancée, crush her career and walk away laughing. But instead, he lost everything. His marriage, his money, his pride, all gone. And the best part, he never saw it coming. If there's one thing I learned, it's this. People who abuse their power always believe they're untouchable. But the higher they build their throne, the harder they fall when the truth finally hits. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and tell us in the comments what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen. And of course, don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. Because trust me, we've only just begun.